Ow, my thumb!
It's gonna be okay, Dad. Look, there, it's all better.
Oh, thank you. Commandment number 2, taking the Lord's name in vain. Most of us associate that with saying certain words that we call swear words and what have you. Those who are broad-minded say, well, it's not just a swear word that involves God, it's any swear word, and as long as you don't swear, then you're okay. Well, I mean, there is some truth to that in terms of, I don't think any of us would want our name associated with negativity. If I really did bang my thumb on with a hammer, or you did too, we wouldn't want to hear Dave, Davedy, Dave, 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 and this is the word that everybody uses to mean life stinks. That's not a fair representation of me, let alone of God. So there's some truth to that. That said, the words themselves are relatively unimportant. I've heard God's name taken in vain that way, in a way that probably meant nothing and had no further effect on the world other than that moment. I've also heard God's name being misspoken in cathedrals and churches in ways that absolutely twisted the meaning of God and faith and everything we know about the universe. Which one of those ways of taking God's name in vain really matters more? As it turns out, I don't think the swearing is that big of a deal, simply because everybody knows what those words mean, everybody knows the context in which they're used mostly, and everybody can put them in their place and say, well, that might not be great, but that was this, and it was this big. It's also possible to use God's name in vain in ways that are huge, that witness terrible things to the world about God and each other. Those also fall under the second commandment, and those are much harder to spot. I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but sometimes, especially in times like this, COVID-19, viruses everywhere, you hear something like, well, so-and-so is a prayer warrior, and if they pray and join together with their other prayer warriors, they'll get the results they want. Really? What are those people witnessing to the world? That they're so special, that they're so good at saying the words right, that they have God on a leash, that God will favor them, and God will leave someone else in a hospital alone and suffering and let them go because they didn't speak the right things, because they weren't in His club? Really? Don't you think that's also a severe misuse of God's name and of the whole idea of talking to God through prayer? Guess what, folks? The second commandment gets broken by a lot more people in a lot more places than we think, including places that we think or call holy and good.